You want a little company tonight?
Yeah, blood and guts. I love blood and guts. Yes. I got the kidney.
Cresswell, let's get to the lab. I heard there's another dead body. We have to cut it open.
Ooh, Wadsworth, you sure know how to sweet talk me.
Would you mind your emotions? We have to get there and take this investigation seriously.
Why, when I can get your hands all over me like this? Hi, everybody, I'm Joe.
And I'm Mary.
And we're Book Buds. And today, Mary is going to tell us about Kerri Maniscalco's debut novel, Stalking Jack the Ripper, as well as some of the others in the series. How were these?
They were good. I was looking forward to reading these because we read another book by her and we really loved it. But I have to say that was my favorite book of hers, which was Kingdom of the Wicked.
Yes.
That was my favorite book of hers. So they were good, but they weren't fantastic. So they were very different from what she's currently writing. The series Stalking Jack the Ripper is kind of like, it's a historical fiction.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is all based on the serial killer Jack the Ripper. Very good though. Like, she really researched this story so well. It made me, I've never really cared about serial killers, but it made me want to go and Google and see like, oh wow, this was really happening and all this stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So she included pictures from the period, you know, to like bring it to life and whatnot. So it was good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my typical kind of book though, because I like fantasies, I like YA fantasies. This was not a fantasy at all. And it was classified a little bit in the horror genre because there was a lot of like blood and guts. There were lots of dead bodies. One person that's like, I feel like their skin was like all taken off. Like it was almost like they were turned inside out. Like it was pretty, pretty vivid descriptions of these deaths. But overall, I thought it was really well written. It was good. It was just not my favorite of hers so far. So our scenes were fun though, right?
Yeah, those are good. Those are good.
Joe likes having a death, so being able to murder me, enjoying pulling that kidney out. I mean, Jack the Ripper.
The kidney, right.
He was legit taking people's organs and everything. So that was, she had the specific names and the murders that he committed were replicated in the story. It was very interesting.
Oh, okay.
And so there were definitely kidneys missing in one of the bodies. But these,
horrific.
Yeah. But these two characters that she created that were doing the investigations were our two that were being flirtatious with each other, Wadsworth and Cresswell. So Wadsworth, her name is Audrey Rose, and she's like a wealthy young thing being raised in a proper home. And her father's mortified that she wants to go and cut open dead bodies, but her uncle does this as his profession. And she kind of just like sneaks out of the house and runs to the uncle's lab and helps cut open those bodies and takes really good notes and like she has the stomach for it, but it was not proper for a young lady to be doing such a thing. So she meets Cresswell because he's one of the students that comes and helps out in the lab. And at first, she, you know, they're just getting to know each other. He seems like this closed off, strange, odd boy, but she's 17. He's like 18. Of course, there becomes the attraction and whatnot.
Of course.
So they are the love interest that travels through the 4 different novels.
They go through all the novels?
They do.
I did not realize that.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So each novel of the series has a very different focus, but these two are investigating murders pretty much throughout the whole series.
So let me ask you, do they catch the killer? Do we know who it is?
Well, in real life, we don't know who Jack the Ripper is, so that was kind of like an unsolved mystery. But what's nice about fiction is that you can change it up and make it what you want it to be. So it was kind of nice. We had a twist ending that came through, and I'm not going to tell you exactly what happens, but we get some resolution in the book that you wouldn't necessarily have in life. But with a twist, with like a good twist. It was really, of the 4, I did enjoy this book the most. It was well written and well concluded. So after that one, you take the 2 characters and you put them in this Dracula story. So the second one is called Hunting Prince Dracula. And the way that it links is that the 2 characters are going off to Romania to study forensics. So Cresswell has convinced Wadsworth's father, I'm going to chaperone her and take her on to be educated in this lovely forensics stuff, and I'm going to protect your daughter, don't worry. And they go off to Romania. And they're staying in like Dracula's castle,
Ooh.
which is cool. And then they have all these deaths happening that appear to be vampire related. Okay. So, but remember, this is not fantasy, right? It's historical fiction. So even though there's things in there that you're like, oh my God, what kind of dark, mysterious things are taking place here, it still kind of had a very reality-based vibe to it. You kept being regrounded and whatnot. Even though there was the spook factor, you were grounded back towards reality.
That one was a fantasy. It sounds like it could have gone to great places.
It could have, and honestly, there were some strange things that did happen that weren't fully fleshed out in reality, you know? So there were like some crypts under this castle that I don't want to give information about to spoil it, but there were some spooky things that happened there, which was definitely interesting. So that was where they traveled through the second book, okay? The third book, then they hear, oh, there's murders happening in America. We got to pop on a boat and get back to America. And so the boat ride has a circus on the boat. And this is the one about Houdini, this third book, okay? So it's called Escaping from Houdini.
They're from England, though?
Yeah, they're from England.
Okay, so they're going all over the place.
But this whole third book is on the boat with this circus.
Oh, okay.
Houdini, I have to say, is not the main character of the circus. You have this other man who is quite an interesting character. I liked his character, who was like the head of the circus. He was more prominent to the story than Houdini was, but I guess Houdini is kind of like the catchy name that we know, so that's what's in the title.
Yeah.
But there were a bunch of murders happening, circus related, cruise ship related, and they were there with the uncle doing their forensics, cutting open more dead bodies on their way to America.
That sounds like a good one. How was that in comparison? The ship, the circus?
It was probably my least favorite because there was the little bit of the scary stuff with the crypts under the castle, and the second one had me on edge a little bit.
Yeah.
And the fourth one, which I'll go on to now, the fourth one kind of like brought everything together because we're in America and we have these murders happening and people are thinking, oh, this is like Jack the Ripper over here, or is it a copycat? And it was all these murders that were happening in Chicago around the time of the World's Fair. And I didn't research the history of it on that one, but it was talking about the White City Devil and the Murder Hotel, which I think is like a serial killer that happened also in Chicago. And those, like the Murder Hotel, I believe was like a real thing, but the Murder Hotel was in this fourth book. But the fourth book, they brought characters from the cruise ship over to America. They brought characters from Romania over to America. And then they brought the plot line from the first book back into the fourth book and had like a totally different kind of conclusion thrown
Jack
out
the
there.
Ripper one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was fun to have all that happen in the fourth book. So overall, I enjoyed it enough. I'm not raving about it because it's not my genre that I typically read. But it was an interesting progression through all those different historical topics with lots of blood and guts.
So it's not your top favorite of the year?
No.
Okay.
I don't regret reading it though. This is probably truly what you would rate it, like a 3, and when I was reading it, you're like, Mary, that's a 2. But I don't know. I mean, it was good enough. It was well written. It just wasn't the type of novel that truly makes me feel passionate.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds middle of the road to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like I'm probably not going to read it.
Yeah, I don't
To
think
be
you're
honest.
gonna read it. It's not your kind of thing. But somebody that wants to see a bunch of bodies cut open, and also the romance line, it wasn't heavy in the first book, but of course these characters are with each other through 4 books.
Yeah.
So by the 4th book, it is a little bit more focused on their relationship.
They get together?
They do get together. I think, are they engaged? They get married? I can't even remember at this point. But the relationship progresses. They're definitely meant to be together, these two. How much they love cutting the bodies open and everything.
So they didn't have hot, steamy sex like her other books?
No. Yeah, so we're going to have a review of her most recent book, and there's lots of hot, steamy sex in that one. So I think she was probably like, as she's writing those, she's like, I have to be proper with writing these, and now she's like, I want to write what I want to write.
Yeah.
Putting steamy stuff in her other novels. And that one is Kingdom of the Feared. That one's quite steamy.
Yeah,
So
quite the difference.
yes, Very interesting progression for this author. So have you guys read these? Do you like reading about serial killers? Do you like historical fiction? Let us know.
If you're enjoying Book Buds, give us a thumbs up.
And share us with your friends.
And subscribe to our channel, Book Buds!
Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe.
I got the kidney. I licked it. Not really.
Let's hope it was
But
on camera.
I didn't like touch it, but this improv gets